Good morning. Today is 18 December 2025. This is The Brief. Our first story: Escalating U.S. Venezuela tensions and threat of naval blockade. The story: President Trump yesterday, in his national address, related updates, reiterated threats of blockade against Venezuelan oil industry, claimed the country stole U.S. oil assets, and referenced ongoing military actions, including reported U.S. strikes on vessels amid spiraling tensions. Why is this important to preppers? Disruptions to Venezuelan oil exports could spike domestic fuel prices, strain energy supplies, and contribute to broader geopolitical instability or even limited conflict affecting U.S. imports and economy. What preppers can do about this locally: stock up on extra fuel for vehicles and generators in approved containers, invest in alternative heating/cooking options like propane or wood stoves, and monitor local gas prices to top off tanks early while building a 3 to 6 months reserve of non-perishable essentials that rely on transportation. So basically, make sure you got your trash in one bag. You should also know that there was a vote last night in the U.S. House to try and force the president to withdraw all troops from anything that was terrorist related in the Western Hemisphere. So basically, they tried to the Democrats tried to get Trump to pull out of everything he's doing in Venezuela. It didn't work. Missions will continue. Next story: massive U.S. arms sales package to Taiwan. The story: the U.S. government announced a major arms deal worth over $10 billion to Taiwan yesterday, including advanced weapons to bolster defenses amid ongoing regional tensions. Obviously, this is a China thing. Why it's important to preppers: highlighted U.S.-China confrontation risk escalation into conflict, severely disrupting global supply chains, especially semiconductors, electronics, and manufactured goods from Asia, and potentially triggering shortages or economic fallout in the U.S. What preppers can do locally: inventory and stockpile critical imported items like electronics, medications, tools, and spare parts. Diversify suppliers from essentials and develop off-grid communication alternatives like ham radios in case of broader disruptions. Our next story: economic chain versus persistent voter concerns over cost of living. Take this one with a grain of salt, folks. The story: in the president's primetime address last night, President Trump insisted the economy is booming due to tariffs and policies, but fact checks and reports highlight discrepancies with government data showing ongoing inflation pressure, which many voters still anxious about prices despite some gains. Why this is important to preppers: persistent high costs and potential for recession or policy-driven volatility could erode purchasing power, leading to job losses or exacerbate supply issues, accelerating economic instability. What can you do about this locally? Build or expand food and household stockpiles, focusing on bulk dry goods and home gardening. Reduce debt and build cash reserves. Learn budgeting skills for bartering or self-production line canning and basic repairs to weather price spikes. I guess the big thing on that one is, excuse me, is that you either believe the economy is booming or you do not. It's either people seem to be more focused on what they can physically see in the store than what is really happening in our environment. I'll just throw out gas prices, but I think that the people are missing the fact that more money is coming into their paycheck, specifically after this tax year. It's going to be pretty impressive. So, all right, next story: ongoing manhunt after Brown University campus shooting. The story: as of yesterday, the search continues for the suspect in a Brown University shooting that killed 2 and injured 8 New footage and neighborhood cameras aiding the investigation, but the gunman still is at large. Now, why is this important to preppers? This indicates rising potential for active shooter events or civil unrest in public/university settings, highlighting vulnerabilities in everyday locations and the need for some personal security preparedness. What can we do at the local level? Enhance home and family security with reinforced doors, alarms, and safe rooms. Train in situational awareness and concealed carry if legal. Develop family emergency plans for public incidents, including evacuation routes and communication protocols. Something off the cuff here. These people will become more emboldened. If one guy could get away with it, maybe I will too. And for those with mental disorders, this could be the way they are thinking. So we could be seeing more of these things. Next story. U.S. government admits liability in deadly mid-air collision. This one's kind of off-putting. The story. Yesterday, federal officials acknowledged government negligence in a helicopter plane collision over Washington, D.C. that killed 67 people, pointing to failures in air traffic control and military coordination. Now, why is this important to preppers? Well, this reveals vulnerabilities in critical infrastructure and government oversight, raising concerns about cascading failures in transportation, emergency response, or broader systemic breakdowns during crisis. What can you do about this locally, or what can you do locally, should I say, is prepare alternative transportation plans. It's that easy. Also stock emergency kits for trauma, strengthen community networks for mutual aid in case of local infrastructure disruptions, and maintain independent power/water sources to avoid reliance on potentially failing system. And that's today's brief. If you'd like to help keep the lights on, please consider one of the links in the description below. And as usual, stay vigilant and bye-bye.
That was easy.